Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you guys an update on how IEW is working out in our homeschool. So if you followed any of my videos before, you know that my two oldest boys use IEW. I have a 4th grader and a 6th grader. And with that, I have a level B for my oldest and a level A for my youngest. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of let you know how things are going, what my thoughts are on how they are going through the year. So we are almost halfway through the year's worth of curriculum. We take the entire month of December off. It happens to be the month of my husband's and I anniversary, and we have birthdays and we have Christmas, and it just tends to be a pretty chaotic month. So we usually take that month off of school and focus on this season, the reason why we're celebrating. So with that, we've jumped back in January, and I just want to kind of give you an update and let you kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse as to how they are doing. So my oldest, who is in level B, so level B covers grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. So he's on the younger end of level B. He had actually made the comment, and they watched the videos with Andrew Pudawa, and he just recently made the comment that while in the class, the virtual class of this video, he was commenting and saying, the kids in that video, their papers are so much better than mine. So I had to remind him he's on the lower end of this level, on level B, and that writing is a process, right? So we're not immediately a great writer. It takes time, it takes practice. Just like with anything, the more we do it, the better we become. And so I usually am focusing on this with both of them, that writing is not something that we just do once and we're automatically great and we've got a great paper. One, it's a process in and of itself of just one single paper, right? We create our outline, we create a rough draft, we edit it, we get another draft. Sometimes that draft is done. Sometimes we have to make edits on what we thought was our final draft and re-edit or, rewrite it again with things that we've seen that can be better or, more mistakes. So it's a constant process, writing is. And so I was describing that to him and just sharing with him that, we all have areas to improve, and as long as we're doing our best and we are working hard, then I don't really care how you compare with the rest of the people. I just want you to work at your level and just keep getting better, no matter where you fall on the scale. So I kind of wanted to start with my youngest because my oldest does have experience with it. So he walked going into level B, having already done a little bit of IEW in some co-ops. So he kind of knew this layout. He knew, that we do a keyword outline, and from the keyword outline, then we make our rough draft, we edit it, we do our final draft, and that's the process. My younger one, this was his first real glimpse into writing in general. So up until we switch in 4th grade to IEW, I use Abeka. And while Abeka has some writing prompts here and there, a lot of it's focusing more on the grammar, right? Where we're learning the rules of writing and reading. And there's, some writing splattered into the curriculum, but not super focused like IEW. So I will say my 4th grader is more of a struggling writer and reader. And so what I may expect of him is a little bit different than what I expect of my oldest, who does not struggle with reading and writing. But I have to say, I don't think that he would be doing as well as he is in writing if he was not using IEW. Now, I have not looked at all the world's writing curriculum to be able to say that this is the only way that he would learn and be able to do that. But I can say that he is doing it. I just want to show you some examples. So this is really his first true, work at writing. And so, I've shared this before. It gives you a checklist of all the things that you're going to do in the week. So this is what comes. I got, the bundle for level A, year 1, I believe. And if you have questions of that, I do have a video showing what I put in or what I ordered for each kid in their curriculum. You can check that out. But with it, it does come a composition checklist. It tells you all the things that you need to make sure is in your writing. And so at the very back, it kind of tells you what order to label it in. This is his keyword outline. So I want to point out that a lot of what he is doing individually, even without me. Now, when it comes down to editing the paper, making sure that we have our strong verbs, our, what else he at this point? An ly adverb, a who, which clause, a strong verb, and a because clause. I'm helping make sure that we put those things in, and I'll be completely honest, sometimes I'm giving him the suggestions because I just don't think that he has the experience to be able to include all of those things. And so I think in my mind, how I'm treating it is that I am modeling for him an appropriate way to write. And so by giving him the examples and by talking it over and saying, what if we added this in? Or what could we add at this sentence? Or do you see anywhere where we could put a strong verb, or even point out a verb and say, let's think of a stronger verb for this one? I'm really walking him through the process and learning and teaching him how that he can, find these areas to improve on his own, but I'm modeling it. I'm not expecting him to do it completely on his own. This, however, the keyword outline, he did do this all on his own. Now, I will say they do some of it in the video with Andrew Pudua and his virtual classroom. They do some of it, but some of it he does do it on his own. So he has created his keyword outline. I believe this one was about deserts. So they were reading about the Gobi Desert and the Sahara Desert. And he was to make one paragraph about Sahara and one paragraph about the Gobi Desert. So he created his own keyword outline. Did that completely on his own. I did not help him with that. Then he wrote, here is a paragraph for the Sahara Desert. That's his rough draft. And here is a paragraph about the Gobi Desert that he wrote from his keyword outline on his own. I did not help him. Now, are these paragraphs top notch? No, they're not. And I don't care because he wrote it on his own, and that is what I am super proud about. And so I point that out to him. When he gets it, sometimes he can get a little deflated. You can see I've marked it up. Honestly, he has some sentences that aren't even complete sentences, and he'll have he'll have looked at his keyword outline, and it almost looks like he just wrote his outline line right onto his paper, and completely forgot about what a sentence needs, that it needs a subject and a verb and it needs to make sense. Sometimes he forgets that. And so I have to correct that for him, and we need to get it to actually sound good. And even when I'm correcting it, a lot of times, I have to pull myself back. Like, that's not how I would write it as, a 35-year-old. But I have to remember, he's not 35 years old. He's 9, and this is probably how a 9-year-old would write the paper. So I have to kind of think about, how would a 9-year-old write the paper? It's not my paper, it's his paper. So while I do need it to make sense, I'm not trying to change all of his sentences and put it in the vernacular that I would use. I leave it generally how he writes it, minus, then the sentences that don't make sense. So we've really just been focusing on, like, Isaiah, you wrote this paper all on your own. What a great accomplishment. I don't care about all the red stuff. It doesn't matter who you are. Your paper can be ripped to shreds with lots of red ink and improved upon, no matter where you fall on the writing spectrum. Like, you can always be better. I think that's one of the things that I've always struggled with writing, is there's not a right and wrong answer. You could take 100 people and give them one book to read and ask them to write you a book report, and all 100 of them will be completely different, and not a single one of them will be wrong. I'm a black and white person. I love math because there's always one answer, but not with writing. And so that's what I've been trying to learn along and teaching with him, is that yours can look different, but it's not necessarily wrong. And I'm just proud of the accomplishment that he's making, because he's doing this generally on his own. So this was his first paragraph. Again, I do edit it. He writes that was his first, it was a 2-paragraph paper. And here's the second paragraph. So fewer edits. He did do it on a different day. So it could have been a combination of, he did this one at the end of the day. I do know that. He did this one at the beginning of the next day. And the difference between a fresh mind and a tired mind, who's to say? But his second paragraph was significantly better. And so we commented on that. We made sure that we had our strong verb. You can see a lot of what I I had included a which clause that he had forgotten. He did have his own because clause. We found an ly adverb to put in, and then we found a stronger verb for found and said uncovered. So I helped and walked him through that process because some of these things are not super, first nature for him. And, again, focusing on the easy +1. What is easy for you? Like, I probably should reel him back a little bit now that I'm thinking of it and saying these words out loud, is that I should really be focusing on what's easy for you, Isaiah, and then let's add one more thing on it. So if a strong verb is easy for you, then let's make sure we include the strong verb, and then let's do +1. Let's challenge ourselves with one more thing. What do you want it to be? Do you want it to be the because clause? Do you want it to be the who, which clause, or the ly adverb? So we're going to do what's easy, and then we're going to add one challenging factor into our paper. In reality, I probably should be doing that at this point because I think he's getting overwhelmed by having 4 things in each paragraph in his papers at this point. So that's something that I'm kind of processing through as I'm saying that all out loud. But he did write it. Let's see. From these edits, he wrote his final draft. Now, here's where we get... He still had errors. He had misspellings. He had things that I edited in his rough draft that he did not include. I have things that should have been capitalized that he did not capitalize, and commas that he forgot. Let's see. Yep, just those general things. For my oldest, I would probably make him correct that, because it's a little different dynamic between him. Also on the fact that my oldest types out his final draft, so it's easy to go in and edit his final draft again, and we are able to make quick corrections on the computer. My son, it is more difficult for him to write. It takes a little bit longer. He has trouble focusing. Writing this paper is a huge feat for him. I am okay with this. In fact, I told him that I will actually type out his final draft, making those corrections, and he will have it on the computer, and that we can print it out, and that will be his final draft. And I think that's one of my biggest pieces of advice, is to don't push it. Like, I could be a real stickler about this and say, you made a mistake, go back and fix it, and make him rewrite this entire paper. That would demoralize him, and it would ruin the writing experience for him. And I don't think that would be teaching him what is truly the goal in writing. The goal is that we can have fun writing. And sometimes some of the subjects aren't their favorite. I get it. That, it's overall, I don't think writing is their favorite subject. But they don't necessarily complain doing this as much as they have with other things that we've done, with Abeka worksheets that they did not like. I mean, a lot of it seems to be busy work. This actually has like fruit, right? The process brings you a paper that they wrote on their own, and I think that they can see that at the end. And as you get into further lessons, you find that you get to do some more inventive and creative writing, and they enjoy those a whole lot more. And then maybe reading an article of, deserts, and then rewriting essentially like a little book report on the articles that you read, a research paper. So anyway, I digressed. I don't make him do, another final draft. I could easily type this up in probably less than 5 minutes and have it done, and we wouldn't be any worse off because I taught him the process of writing. Actually, Andrew Pudua taught him the process of writing, and I was a cheerleader on the side and helped him along the way. So that's my advice with that. This program, like, I'm impressed. This is what my 4th grader wrote. Okay, yeah, he did have some edits from me, but by and large, this is his. He wrote this paper, and I look at it and I'm truly impressed that he can pull this all together, even with a struggling reader and a struggling writer, as able to do this. So overall, I'm loving this program. even because not only are they, you know, making great outputs and, you know, making strides and learning the process of writing, but I can outsource it, and I'm not the one actually doing the teaching. They're getting to watch the videos from Andrew Pudua, and that allows me a little bit of time to work with my other two kiddos who are a little bit more time intensive in the other subjects, because I'm still reading directions to them. I'm still making sure that they're, you know, following all of their little worksheets and activities correctly. Now, to give you a little glimpse into what my oldest is doing, it's level B. Guys, the process is the exact same. He's making keyword outlines. He is, you know, doing a rough draft, and he's doing a final draft. The only difference is that because we live in a camper right now, we don't have a printer with us. So he writes all of his papers, his final drafts on my computer, and we have a folder saved so that when we're back at our home base, that we are able to print all those out and put them appropriately into his binder to show that yes, he in fact did type out his final draft. But let me find some of his final compositions. His are a little bit more in depth, just pretty much like as you might expect. Actually, I don't even think we have his last one put together. So let's see. His are a little bit longer. So instead of having 2 paragraphs, my oldest has 3 paragraphs. So you can see he's done the exact same thing. They have the same sort of checklist that we're following. I have his keyword outline. Again, I did not help him at all in his keyword outline. I'm sure it was a combination of doing things in his class and, you know, his virtual class, and doing it on his own. And then from his keyword outline, he writes a rough draft. And you can see there's, you know, there's still some corrections. I'm still doing some spelling. I'm still helping him, you know, let's find, you know, he was kind of repetitive. We use the same word. Let's try and think of a different one. I am involving him in the decision process, kind of pointing things out, like, and trying to troubleshoot together. Like, what could we say differently here? You know, you used, we should probably use a pronoun here because we're saying the same person's name over and over and over, and it's getting a little redundant. You know, how can we fix some of those problems in the writing process? But he does this all on his own, and you will notice I don't have the final draft here because he has typed it. So again, it's following the same process. I know he would not say that writing is his favorite subject. I don't really know what he would say what his favorite subject is. Does playing the piano count? Because he'd probably say that. But that aside, even though they may not say that writing is their favorite subject, it's working wonders. I don't know, you know, where I have trouble when I think back into my childhood and my school age years of when I was really pulling together papers of this kind of quality and including things like because clauses and who which clauses, and, you know, making sure that we're using strong verbs and ly adverbs, things like that, you know, quality adjectives, all those different things. I'm not really sure. There are times where I'm like, I'm not even sure that I would write like that, you know, pre IEW as an adult. So this has really opened my eyes to just becoming a better writer. And I think they are getting to truly be the recipients of like a really quality program. So while they may not say it's their favorite, I think that in the end, when they realize how advantageous this program is, they will be thankful that they went through it, if that makes sense. So if you guys have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. I honestly, I do not have any sort of partnership with IEW. It may sound like I do, but I really don't. These are general, like, heartfelt feelings of IEW that I truly, truly love this program and cannot sing its praises enough. So it really seems to be working for our family. I know it is not a one-size-fits-all for all kids, all families, but if you are struggling to really work something into your, you know, your kids' curriculum with writing and nothing that you found has really worked, I would really highly suggest looking into that. You can even sign up on their website for a free, like, I think it's like 3-week trial or 3-lesson trial where you could, you know, watch some of the videos, see some of the assignments that they're doing. I think it would be really worth it if you're, you know, on the fence of trying something out. So like I said, I love it. I'm super happy with it. And if you have any questions, as always, I'm happy to answer them. And until next time, guys, have a blessed day.